So, hello my dear students, my name is Akash Malik and currently I am a CS undergraduate student at Shivnadar University. So, in today's lecture we are gonna discuss the solution of JEE Advanced Physics Paper 2 Section 3. Okay, so I think without wasting time we should start our lecture. So, let's begin with the question number 1 of Section 3. So this was the question where a spherical bubble inside the water has a radius r, and we have to take the pressure inside the bubble and the water pressure to be P naught. Okay, the bubble now gets compressed radially in adiabatic manner so that its radius becomes r minus a. For a very less than r, magnitude of work done in the process is given by this. Then we are required to find x. Okay, then without further ado, let's start. So what I'm doing is I'm writing the initial volume. Just a second. That initial volume. Let us say it is V1. V1. How can you write V1? That is simply 4 by 3 pi r cube, where r is the radius of the bubble, and of P1 is what? P naught, and V2 final volume is 4 by 3 pi r minus a whole cube. Okay, so if I use a binomial approximation for what this a is very less than r, I can write it as v2 as 4 by 3 pi r cube 1 minus 3a by r. Okay, so now you see this v2 can be written as v1 1 minus 3a by r. Okay, so now we have this p1 v1 raised to the power gamma equals to P2 V2 raised to the power gamma, that PV raised to the power gamma equals to constant. So that is now P naught V1 raised to the power gamma, and this P2 V1 raised to the power gamma, and 1 minus 3a by R raised to the power gamma, and this V1 raised to the power gamma, V1 raised to the power gamma gets cancelled out, and we get P2 is P naught, and 1 minus 3a by r raised to the power minus gamma. So now again we'll use the binomial approximation, and I will get P2 as P naught 1 plus 3 gamma a by r. Okay, this minus gamma comes inside, and we have gamma as 41 by 30. So I'm gonna replace it with this. P2 is equals to P naught into 1 plus 41a by 10r. Okay, so now you see work done can be written as, for a adiabatic process, as P1 V1 minus P2 V2 upon what? Gamma minus 1. Remember this formula, it's very important. Questions based on this formula are even asked in J main also. So you write down the values like P naught and V1 minus this P naught 1 plus 41a by 10r, and multiplied by V1 1 minus 3a by r. Okay, so divided by gamma minus 1. So this work done comes out to be this P naught V1 upon gamma minus 1, and 1 minus 1 plus 41A by 10R times 1 minus 3A by R. Again we'll use that binomial approximation, and I'm gonna write it as like this: work done is equals to what? P naught V1 is 4 by 3 pi R cube over that gamma minus 1 would be 11 by 30, okay, and multiplied with 3A by R plus 123 A square by 10R square, and minus 41 by 41A by 10R. Now you see this A square by R square is nearly equal to 0, and when you simplify this, work done will be equals to 4 pi P naught uh, R square A, okay, into 1 into this. So from here I get x equals to 1. Okay, so this is the solution for this question number 13, and now we'll move to the next question, which is this: that in balanced condition, the values of resistances of the four arms of a Wheatstone bridge are this. You have R1 equals to 60, R2 100, R3 this, and the resistance R3 has a temperature coefficient as 4 into 10 raised to the power minus 4, and per degree Celsius. If the temperature of R3 is increased by this, then the voltage developed between the point S and T is okay. It's a very easy question. So what I'm gonna write is, as after, from here I'm gonna write is that after that temperature increase let us say R3 dash would be what? R3, that is 300 times 1 plus alpha delta T, that is alpha is 0.0004 into 100, that is equals to 312 ohms. Okay, so now I'm gonna redraw this whole figure, okay, like this. This Wheatstone bridge situation I'm gonna draw. This is what? 60 ohm, okay, and this is a battery, and this one is what, 100 ohm, okay, and this one R3 is 300 ohm, 12 ohm, and this one is what, 500 ohm, okay, and this point is what, S, and this point is T, and let us say this is what, 50-volt battery. So you see that um, this is 50, this is 0, and this is current I1, and this is current I2. Like current is going like this and then dividing like I1 and I2. So now what I have is you see, for I1 I'm talking about, okay, I1. So I1 would be what, that V by R. V is what, 50 divided by that total resistance, that is 312 plus 60 degrees. Oh, I'm sorry, not degrees, 60 ohms. So it would be 372 ohms. Okay, so it will be, the current would be 50 by 372 amperes. And we can write this potential Vs now as what, this 312 ohm multiplied with this I1. Okay, so this Vs can be written as 312 into 50 divided by 372 volts. Okay, so now this I2 would be what? So this I2 would be this 50 divided by 500 ohm plus 100 ohm, that is 600 ohm. This would be ampere, and this Vt would be what? 500 into this I2, that is 50 by 600. This is volts. Okay, so now we are required to find this potential difference delta V, which is Vs minus Vt, that is 312 by 372 minus 500 by 600 into 50. So when you solve it, you'll get delta V as 0.27 volts. Okay, so that's the answer. That is 0.27. That would be the answer to this particular problem. Okay, I told you it was an easy problem. So now I'm gonna, move forward. This like, yeah, this is the next problem, which you see uh, that there are two capacitors with capacitances this C1 and C2 are connected in series. Okay, and the voltage applied to the combination is V. Okay, the percentage error in evaluation of calculation of energy stored in the combination of capacitors. Okay, now first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write 1 by C equivalent. That would be what? 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. So when you'll calculate it, this from here, this C equivalent would be what? 1200 picofarad. Okay, and if I differentiate this expression, I would get minus DC equivalent by C equivalent whole square, which is equals to minus DC1 by C1 square minus DC2 by C2 square. So now if I substitute the values, I get DC as this 6 picofarad. Okay, this you have to calculate a little bit. Okay, then after this you get the potential energy formula is 1 by 2 C equivalent into V square. So you differentiate this du by u and is equals to what? DC by C equivalent by C equivalent and plus 2 dV by V. Okay, and now if I just substitute the values, okay, we have to calculate the percentage error, so I'll just multiply it with this du by u multiplied by this 100% is equals to this 6 by 1200 plus 2 into 0.02 over 5 multiplied with what? 100%. So I'll be getting it as a 1 by 2 plus 4 by 5. So that percentage error in energy stored in energy stored is what? 1.3%. Okay, this is 1.3%. Okay, so the answer for this problem is 1.3. Okay, so I hope this question is also clear. Now we'll move to the next problem, which is like this cubical solid aluminium bulk modulus is this 70 gallons Pascal block has an edge length of 1 meter on the surface of the earth. It is kept on the floor of a 5 kilometer deep ocean, taking the average density of water and the acceleration due to gravity to be 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube and 10 to the power 10 meter per second square respectively. The change in the edge length of the block in millimeter is okay. So what we are gonna do is this, you see, we'll start from there. So you see excess pressure, let us say that is dp. What can be written as rho gh? Okay, so we have rho as 10 raised to the power 3, g is 10 into h is what? 5 into 10 raised to the power 3. Okay, so this is what? 5 into 10 raised to the power 7 Pascal. Now we have this volume as what? Let us say L is the edge length and it's L cube. So this dV can be written as, if we differentiate both the sides, I'll get this. So dV by V is what? 3 L square dl by V, and if I substitute this V by L cube, I get this dV by V as a 3 dl by L. Okay, so let us say this is equation number 1. So you see, now I can write this, you see this we are gonna use this now. So we can write this minus V dP by dV is what? 70 gigapascals. Giga means 10 raised to the power 9. Okay, and we can write this dP over dV by V, okay, is equals to 7 into 10 raised to the power 10. Okay, now if I write this value of dP, this dP, it would be what? 5 into 10 raised to the power 7 over this dV. This dV would be what? 3 dl by L. Okay, and that equals to 7 into 10 raised to the power 10. Now from here I can write dl is 5 by 21 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 meter. So this dl comes out to be 0.24 millimeter. So this is what? 0.24. Again, it's a simple problem, just a little, use of your brain. Okay, this dp would be what? Excess pressure, rho gh. Just this was the catch for this problem. Okay, now we'll move forward. So we have this. Okay, so this is our two inductors of two LR. The inductors of two LR circuits are placed next to each other. Okay, as shown in the figure, the values of the self inductance of the inductors, resistances, and mutual inductance and applied voltages are specified in the circuit. Okay, as we can see, this L1, V1, R1, and M are given. So after both the switches are closed, okay, the both are closed simultaneously, the work done by the batteries against the induced EMF in the inductors by the time the current reach their steady values is in millijoule we have to find. Okay, so let's start. You see, uh, I'm gonna draw this on the next page. Okay, so we have this resistance, and this is what the battery is. and this is what inductor is. Okay, and this is another inductor, this is the resistance, and this is what a battery is. Okay, so this is V1, R1, this is equals to 5, this is L1, this is L2, and this is V2, and this is what R2. Now you see, in steady state, let us talk about in steady state. You see, the current would be flowing in this coil in this direction, and here in this direction. Okay, so we can write in the steady state, this I1 would be what? V by R1, that is 5 by 5, that is equals to 1 ampere, and I2 would be what? 20 by 10, that is 2 ampere. You see, in the steady state, the inductor becomes short. It behaves as a normal conducting wire only at in t equals to infinite, that is steady state. So we'll now talk about that induced EMFs. Okay, now this induced EMF induced uh, in L1, let us say that is 1. E induced 1 is L1 di1 by dt plus M di2 by dt. When I'm gonna teach you this EMI, I'm gonna give you the proof of this also. Okay, and EMF induced in second circuit is what? L2 di2 by dt plus M di1 by dt. Okay, so now uh, that we are required to find the work done by the batteries against EMF induced. You see, so this that work done, let us say dW1, the work done by in the first circuit would be what? EMF induced in 1 I1 dt. Okay, that would be equals to what? L1 I1 dt di1 plus M I1 di2. Okay, and this dW2 is what? E2 I2 dt, that is equals to what? L2 I2 d di2 plus Mi2 di1. Okay, you just multiply this I2 dt in this, okay, this figure. So this the net work done dW would be what? Work done by both the batteries, that is dW1 plus dW2. Okay, so that one would be what? L1 I1 di1 plus L2 I2 di2 plus M di1 I2. Okay, so now you just integrate it. This is dW. Integrate both the sides. I'll get the net work done as what? L1 I1 square by 2 plus L2 I2 square by 2, and plus this M I1 I2. Okay, so now when you will just put the values of this L1 I1 M1 M1 I1 I2, so you'll find this work done would be what? 55 this millijoule. Okay, 55 millijoule. So answer to this problem is 55, like here it would be what? 55. Okay, so this is the answer to this problem. I hope this solution is clear, and when we'll study about this EMI and AC, I will discuss this point in more depth. Okay, so now let us go for this question. So it says that a container with 1 kg of water in it is kept in sunlight, which causes water to get warmer than surroundings. The average energy per unit time per unit area received to the uh, sunlight is 700 watt per meter square, which means the intensity of the sunlight is 700 watt per meter square, and it is absorbed by the water over an effective area of 0.05 meter square. Okay, assuming the heat loss from the water to the surroundings is governed by Newton's law of cooling. Okay, the difference in the temperature of water and the surroundings after a long time would be. Okay, so you see how we're gonna do this. So first of all, let us say that intensity I of sunlight as it is given is what, um, 700 watt per meter square. Okay, and this area is equals to what, 0.05 meter square, this watt per meter square. Okay, and now what, power received can be written as I into A. Okay, so that would be 35 joule per second. And now after a long time, after a long time, heat absorption, look, just a second. You see, in steady state, in steady state, we can write that rate of absorption is equals to rate of emission. Okay, so this is what the statement of steady state is. Rate of absorption is rate of emission. So now what this will be, from Newton law of cooling, we can say this d capital T by dt, that is a change in temperature with time, is minus constant into delta T. Okay, so now we have this, the constant is 0.001 per second. So this d capital T by dt is what, minus 0.001 delta T. Okay, so if the rate is equal, which means power loss is what, equals to power received. Yes, and that would be minus ms dt by dt, that would be the power loss, equals to what, 35. This is what power received we wrote here. Okay, so this heat capacity is what, now first of all, minus dt by dt, will substitute the values now. Okay, this m is mass, that would be what, 1 kg. Okay, and s is what, 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin, and this multiplied with the dt by dt, that is 0.001 multiplied with the delta t, is equals to what, 35. So when you'll take the values on the right hand side, you'll get delta T is 8.33 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the answer to this problem is 8.33. So here I conclude the series of JEE Advanced solution for physics. Okay, and now we're gonna continue with our syllabus of electrostatics. Okay, um, so see you in the next video. Okay.